Welcome to episode 14 of Fourth and Inches. Today we're a man short. Good old Dante DeFranzo claims he has a final tomorrow. I don't even know if he's in school, but apparently this podcast was recorded a little bit too late for his liking. So it's just me, Nate Smith, along with my co-host Andrew Mason tonight. Before we get into the action, we like to talk about what we did this past weekend. So I guess I'll start with myself, a little curveball for you guys. This past weekend was a great time. Hung out with my good buddies, Dalton and George, a good amount. Played a lot of poker at Dalton's house. It was a good time. Lost a lot of money, but had a good time in the process. So I guess that's all that matters. Also, ate some really good sushi at the world famous Sumo in the 805. Shout out Newbury Park. Just really good stuff. Mowed 3 rolls. Totally worth it. But Andrew, how was your weekend?
You know what, Nate? My weekend was pretty awesome. Started off with just a little studying because, like our friend Dante, I too have finals this week, but I'm a little more dedicated than he seems to be. This past weekend I got some of my studying out of the way. I also was able to attend one of the more premier recreational basketball leagues in the Southern California area. That's the NPBA. I got to actually shake hands with regular co-host of Fourth and Inches, Christian Agerbidi. Gave him a little shout out over the PA system. So hopefully some of that Cree Wolf magic will rub off on me this weekend. This week in the podcast, I mean. That's about it for me, Nate. Not too much action over here, but just overall grand time.
Sounds just like business as usual. Here we go. We'll get to it. Episode 14, Fourth and Inches. And now we'll get into the Week 14 rapid recap. Kicking things off, we had the Steelers at the Bills. Steelers took care of business. The Steel Curtain. They won this one 27-20. Le'Veon Bell ran wild. 236 yards on the ground with 3 total touchdowns. What a day. Broncos at Titans. Titans squeaked this one out 13-10. Trevor Siemian, however, threw 334 yards through the air and 1 touchdown. DeMarco Murray, 92 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown. Redskins at Eagles in a clash of NFC East division rivals. The R-Words win this one 27-22. Carson Wentz, 314 yards through the air, 1 touchdown. Fat Rob Kelly, 63 yards on the ground, 1 tubby for the Redskins. Cardinals at Dolphins. Dolphins win this one 26-23. It was pouring rain in Miami. Very sloppy game, but they found a way. Ryan Tannehill, 195 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns. However, did injure his ACL, so his remainder of the year is in question. Jarvis Landry added 103 yards receiving for the Dolphins. Chargers at Panthers. Panthers win this one 28-16. Rough day for Phillip Rivers. 3 picks on the day. Jonathan Stewart, 66 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. Greg Olsen had 87 yards receiving. Bengals at Browns. Browns keep losing. Bengals win this one 23-10. Cleveland falls to 0-13. Only 3 more to tie the 08 Lions for the losingest record ever. Andy Dalton, 180 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd, 49 yards receiving. Bears at Lions. Lions win this one 20-17. Matthew Stafford, 223 yards, 1 touchdown. Jordan Howard, 86 yards on the ground. Texans at Colts. Texans win this one 22-17. Andrew Luck, 276 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. Lamar Miller added 107 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown for the Texans. Vikings at Jaguars. The Purple People Eaters take care of business. Win this one 25-16. Sammy Sleeves, 292 yards through the air, 1 touchdown. Marquise Lee had 113 yards receiving for the Jags. Jets at 49ers. Jets win this one 23-17 in OT after Niners pretty much led the whole game. Bryce Petty, 257 yards through the air, 1 pick. Carlos Hyde added 193 yards on the ground for the 49ers. Saints at Buccaneers in an ugly one. Bucs defense continues to dominate, holding New Orleans to 11 points in a Buccaneers win, 16-11. Drew Brees, another rough day, back-to-back multi-interception games. 257 yards through the air, but 3 picks to go along with that. Doug Martin, 66 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. Falcons at Rams in what proved to be Jeff Fisher's demise. Falcons win this one 42-14. It was not close at any point. Matt Ryan, 237 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns. Todd Gurley added 61 yards and 1 touchdown for the Rams. And then on Monday Night Football, we had the Ravens and the Patriots. Patriots are running away with it, but after a couple special teams miscues, the Ravens got back in it. However, the Pats hold on to win 30-23. Brady, 406 yards through the air and 3 touchdowns. Chris Hogan added 129 yards receiving and 1 touchdown. And that's the Week 14 Rapid Recap. Kicking things off here for our in-depth analysis of Week 14. We'll go to the Thursday Night Football game, which was the Oakland Raiders visiting the Kansas City Chiefs in the top of the AFC West showdown. Really two teams at the top of the AFC in general, not only the AFC West. The Raiders ended up losing this game by a score of 21-13. The Chiefs were victorious. This game's interesting, though, for the standings because it pushed the Chiefs improved to 10-3. Raiders dropped to 10-3. Even though they have the same record, the Chiefs are now in first place in the AFC West. The Raiders went from the overall 1 seed in the AFC all the way down to the 5 seed because the Patriots won this weekend. So the Patriots are now the 1 seed in the AFC. Chiefs are at 2. And the 10-3 Raiders are sitting at the first wildcard team in the AFC. Just a few stats from this game. Travis Kelce was a thorn in Oakland's side all night. Had only 5 receptions, but for 101 yards. So Oakland had trouble containing him. Running back Spencer Ware only had 56 yards on the ground. Kansas City did not rush the ball very well. Alex Smith had a pretty good game. 264 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. On the other side, Derek Carr played absolutely horrible. 17 for 41, 117 yards, no touchdown, no picks. However, he didn't get a lot of help from his receiving core. Cooper and Crabtree had drops all night long. Oakland could never really get anything going on offense. Latavius Murray was the one bright spot for that team. He had 103 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. So, looking forward for Oakland's next 3 games, they're at Chargers, they play the Colts, at Broncos. So, Andrew, looking forward to Oakland's schedule, how do we see the rest of their remaining 3 games playing out?
You know what, Nate? I think that they have a pretty favorable schedule, actually. They have, unfortunately, as you guys know out there, I'm a Charger fan, but a pretty easy game against Phillip Rivers and the boys. I really think that the Chargers have kind of lost all hope at this point in the season. If Melvin Gordon's not going to be playing, it's going to just be that much easier for Oakland. Then with the Colts, that's another team that just hasn't really been there this season. They've had some bright moments, of course. That's always going to happen when you have Andrew Luck on the field. But that I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders kind of handled that one easily. The only tough game left in this schedule, in my opinion, is Denver. Of course, this could come down to the AFC. To win the AFC, this could be a very important game down the stretch. We don't know, but I can pretty surely predict that. But I think that Denver game is gonna be tough. We saw a good game when they fought the first time earlier in this season. So I think that's really the only one that they're gonna have problems with. I think that honestly, and I do hope so too. I want to see the Raiders do well. I think that they'll finish out the season 3-0. Honestly, Nate, what about you?
Yeah, I'm about to agree with you. Actually, I don't really see them losing any of these games. At Chargers, as you mentioned. However, I do think Chargers will play them tough. You know, it is a division rival. They're coming off a bad loss to the Panthers. I think Phillip Rivers and the boys will maybe get back on track for this game. I think it'll be a close game, but I do think the Raiders will take that one. Colts, I don't think are a very good football team. I think the Raiders are a lot better than them. Also, I think the Broncos are very overrated. I think the Broncos might actually lose out the rest of the way.
Wow, really?
Very tough schedule. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I do see the Raiders finishing 3-0, and we'll see what the Patriots do and the Chiefs respectively, because those are the 2 other teams at the top of the AFC. Moving to the other side here, the Chiefs' closing schedule. This upcoming Sunday, they have the Titans at home, and on Christmas Day, they have the Broncos at home, and then they finish the year at the Bolts, San Diego Chargers. Oof. So, you know, this schedule is actually pretty tough. The Titans are a good ball club. They're currently leading the AFC South, which is probably the weakest division in football, but very talented offense, great O-line, Mariota's having a great year. DeMarco Murray's been running the ball very well.
They're on fire right now. Honestly.
So that'll be a tough test for that Chiefs defense. We'll see there. That could go either way. Let's just say the Chiefs win that one, though. Chiefs-Broncos played a great game a few weeks ago. Went into overtime. Chiefs won that one 30-27. That was on November 27th. So I think we got another great game on Christmas Day. But I will give the Chiefs the edge there because I think they're the better team. And then to finish off the season at the Chargers, I think the Chiefs win that one too.
Nate. I do have to point something out that I'm pretty sure you didn't take into account when you were putting on those calculations there. I think that I might actually be heading down to Qualcomm on New Year's Day to watch my Chargers play the Chiefs in that game, January 1st.
Are you actually going?
I am. Me and my dad will be making our way because it might be the last time we'll be able to go down to Qualcomm. You never know if whatever.
Looks like you'll be having a shorter drive. Probably just be going to LA soon. So,
that could be the case. So yeah, we're heading down to Qualcomm. You know me, Nate. You know me throughout high school. I make some noise at these sporting events. It might throw off Alex Smith a little bit. Who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, people hear Andrew. He's at least going to count for like 2 false starts from the Chiefs offense. So we can count on that. Maybe I'll throw them off their game a little bit. But realistically, I do see the Chiefs finishing the schedule 3-0 also. And if they hold serve and do so along with the Raiders, and if the Patriots also win out, they'll end up finishing the 2 seed overall in the AFC. And they'll finish atop of their division, even if they have the same record as the Raiders, just because they own the tiebreaker. So,
and the Patriots, they have a pretty easy schedule remaining. They get the Broncos, which could be a tough game, but Jets and Dolphins, that looks like 2 easy wins for the Patriots.
It's looking like the Pats will handle business down the stretch. This is the time of year Big Tommy Terrific lives for. Bill Belichick's just hitting his stride. So, it'll definitely be interesting down the stretch, but if the Chiefs and Raiders both win out, we got to give the advantage to the Chiefs here just because of the tiebreaker. Moving on here, we had the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. This game was very interesting. Must win for the Packers. They pretty much have to win out in order to even considered for the playoffs. They took care of business at snowy Lambeau Field. Green Bay won this one by a score of 38-10. Seattle just getting absolutely obliterated. Didn't even put up a fight. It's hard to do that, Andrew, when you have 6 turnovers.
That's true. 5 picks for Russell Wilson. Not his brightest moment as a superstar quarterback, huh?
Russell Wilson with probably his roughest game as a pro. Been in the league a few years now. I mean, when you lose the turnover battle 6-0, Packers didn't turn it over one time. It's going to be a tough time to win the game. You're not going to win many games doing that. You look at the team stats, and they're pretty even aside from turnovers. First downs within 4, total yards within, Seattle at 354, Green Bay at 330. But as we mentioned, when you have 6 turnovers, it's just virtually impossible to win the game. But Aaron Rodgers had a very efficient day. He had 3 touchdowns through the air, 246 yards passing, passer rating, of 150.8. Very impressive. Russell Wilson's rating, just to compare, 43.7. For the Packers, their receivers played a very good game. Devontae Adams led the way with 104 yards and 1 touchdown. Jordy Nelson had 41 yards through the air, but he caught 2 touchdowns. So just an overall team effort from Green Bay. Their defense obviously played very well, forcing 6 turnovers, holding Seattle to 10 points. Andrew, in order for the Green Bay Packers to even be considered for playoff contention and to possibly sneak into the wild card, they have to win out. They can't lose. Mm-hmm. So upcoming, they got at Bears versus Vikings at Lions. Do you like their chances to win out?
Let's see. At Bears, at Vikings, at Lions. All 3 away?
No, sorry. The Vikings are at home, but at Bears and at Lions.
Okay, at Bears. Okay. You know what? Okay, so obviously I'm going to give the edge to Green Bay against the Bears here. Bears have had their struggles. But yeah, Vikings. Vikings is going to be a difficult one. Obvious rivalry going on there. Something that I've noticed in NFL rivalries is it doesn't matter if one team is better than the other. Both teams are going to come to play. Both teams have a hatred towards each other. That's going to be an even game no matter what season it is. If the Packers and the Vikings are on the field, it's going to be a close one. And the final one, man, the one against the Lions. That's probably going to be the one that comes down to whether Green Bay and A-Rod are going to make it to the playoffs, in my opinion. And honestly, I hate to say it, especially because Aaron's my fantasy quarterback. He's been leading me to some victories lately. But I don't see Green Bay beating Detroit. I think, like you were saying before the show, Matthew Stafford, he's on fire right now. He's putting up potential. This may be a little controversial. Who knows? I was a little shocked when you said it. I'll be honest, but he may slip in there in some MVP talks. He's been putting up some mad stats lately. I don't like Green Bay's chances against Detroit, and that's about it. And like you said, I think they need to win out in order to make playoffs.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you here, and I might play cynic here and say they might lose 2 or 3.
Really?
I think they'll beat the Bears, but I think it'll actually be a very close game. I think they lose to the Vikings, and I think they also lose to the Lions. The Vikings will also, I think, be a very close game on Christmas Eve. It's a Saturday game. Curveball for you guys. Stay woke there. Saturday game. A lot of Saturday games on Christmas Eve. NFL throwing the players a bone. Only 2 games on Sunday, which happens to be Christmas Day this year. Anyways.
Got to share the prime time with the NBA then, huh?
That's right, dude. Got to compete. Anyways, the Vikings, however, even though they're a bad team, or they're not even a bad team, they're an average team, started the year red hot, as we all know. But now they're sitting in a tie for second place in the NFC North with Green Bay. They're both sitting at 7-6. So it's not like it's a team that can't compete. Very good team defensively, top 5. And if the offense shows up, it'll be a close ball game. And I think the defense might be able to get under Aaron Rodgers' skin for some turnovers. And if you get under Aaron Rodgers' skin early, you take him out of the game mentally. However, he is a very elite quarterback. It is possible to defeat him, and I think the Vikings might have the game plan for him. And then January 1st, New Year's Day, when they go to Detroit, that's a tough place to play. As we mentioned, Matthew Stafford, sneaky MVP votes this year. I mean, without Matthew Stafford, I think the Lions might win 2 games. Like, he's
the guy.
He's the guy in Detroit. Without him, they're nothing. They have one of the worst rushing attacks in the entire league. He carries that offense on his shoulders.
You see that run this past week?
Oh, I saw the run, man. He does it all. Runs, throws it. Probably has back problems because he carries the team so much. So, I think the Lions will actually win that divisional showdown. As we said, all 3 of these games are rivalry games, so they're all going to be close in nature. But I think the Lions might actually be the better overall team. Their defense has been playing well lately also. So, I think they take care of business there. Moving to the other team, the Seattle Seahawks.
Ooh.
I mean, their closing schedule might be the complete opposite. This is one of the easiest last 3 games I've ever seen. They play the Rams at home, Cardinals at home, and at the 49ers. Seahawks are one of those teams where it really matters if they're at home or they're away. Very good home team, pretty bad road team. They got the Rams and the Cardinals at home the next 2 weeks. I think those are 2 easy wins. The Rams are just horrible. In absolute shambles. Jeff Fisher just got fired. Their rookie quarterback, Jared Goff. Don't see that one ending well for LA. Cardinals are turnover machine. Carson Palmer's averaging like 2 or 3 turnovers a game, having a very rough year. I think they take care of business there. And then last game, the 49ers, who have 1 win this season. So, I mean, the door is wide open for Seattle to make a run at this 2 seed in the NFC. Or if the Cowboys drop a couple, they could even end up at the 1 seed because their closing schedule is very easy. What do you think about that closing schedule for Seattle, Andrew?
All right, Nate, I agree with you on week 16 and 17 that they're gonna wrap things up there.
Yeah.
But you know what? I have a feeling that ever since the firing of head coach Jeff Fisher, the LA locker room, a bunch of young guys looking to make a name for themselves in the NFL, Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, they're fired up right now. I think that they kind of have the, even if Jeff Fisher wasn't the whole problem, I think getting rid of a huge component of the problem shows the players that, you know what, this is on us now.
Little weight off their chest.
Yeah, there's no blaming it on the coach anymore. The players can't do that. The media can't do that. It's up to the players. And I think that they're I think that they're excited right now. LA fans, obviously we live pretty close to LA. I know that they're excited. And I think if Seattle does have a chance of losing in these last 3 games, which are fairly easy, I think it could be this next week versus the Rams, actually.
Yeah, you bring up interesting points. It is a Thursday game, short week. A game, in all honesty, the Seahawks will probably look beyond. I don't think they'll spend too much time, actually taking the Rams seriously. So, you do bring up an interesting point. Upsets do happen in this game very often, and it is possible that Jared Goff and the Rams squeak one out. They do have some talent, got a talented defense. They can hold that offense in check and give their offense a chance. You never know. That's why they call it the NFL, baby. We'll see this Thursday. Moving to Sunday night, we had the Dallas Cowboys visiting the New York Giants. NFC East showdown. Cowboys looking to keep intact their 1-loss record. Did not happen. Giants took this one 10-7 in a defensive battle littered with offensive turnovers. The team stats are eerily similar. It was a very tight game throughout. Cowboys had a chance at the end. Dez Bryant fumbled late in the game to put it away for the Giants' victory. However, total yards for Dallas and New York, 260 to 260. Time of possession within a minute. Turnovers, 3 apiece. First downs, Dallas 13, New York 12. So, for Cowboys fans, I guess there's good news here. Even though the Giants have unfortunately swept us this season, they beat us both times, our only 2 losses of the year. This game proves that we can hang with them. This was Dak's second time playing this team. The first time he played him, he was a rookie, first NFL start. So I kind of give him a slide there, but I can't give him a slide in this one. Easily Dak's worst game as a pro. 165 yards, 17 for 37, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Passer rating of 45.4. That's horrendous. Can't sugarcoat it, folks. Played a bad ball game. It happens. I don't know if you guys remember the old Tony Romo. Last season, he had a couple clunkers, and he did that every year, where he'd at least have 2 or 3 games where he just played absolutely horrible. Believe it or not, even Tom Brady has a bad game once in a while, and he's the best of all time. So I think people need to get off Dak's back a little bit. Yes, he played a bad game, but before this, he'd led a team to an 11-game winning streak. No rookie has ever done that. Very good quarterback. I believe he's still top 5 in the NFL for passer rating this season. The Cowboys are still sitting at 11-2. If they win this upcoming week, I believe they have a chance to clinch the overall number 1 seed if they get some help from either the Giants losing or Detroit losing. So, Cowboys fans need to take a deep breath. Tough game upcoming against the Buccaneers, but, Dak's still a rookie, still learning. 11-2. Can't be upset at that. For Giants fans, Eli Manning honestly wasn't much better. 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. If you take away the, I think it was a 61-yard slant route to Odell Beckham for a touchdown, Eli Manning had a horrible game if you take that away. It was literally just a little 5-yard slant route that a great athlete turned into a big play. So Eli Manning wasn't anything special. Cowboys defense and the Giants defense both played extremely well, containing these opposing offenses. Andrew, what's your biggest takeaway from this game?
Okay, Nate. 2 things, quick. First of all, Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback of all time. And secondly, there's absolutely no reason for you and Cowboy Nation to be panicking about this game. You guys have lost both your losses to the same team, a team that you probably won't see in the playoffs. You guys are the only team in the NFL to have clinched a playoff spot at this point. 2 losses in a season in which you guys have already almost tripled your amount of wins from last season is not something to be too worried about, Nate. But my biggest takeaway from this game is, you know what? Dak Prescott is human after all. We've seen, like you said, an 11-game win streak that he's led the way with a co-rookie Ezekiel Elliott. Dak Prescott, he's been awesome this season. In my opinion, he's been, if not MVP, Rookie of the Year. He's been incredible. He's really held Cowboy Nation together. Cowboys are a franchise in which the fans, much like the Lakers in basketball, the fans have such high expectations. amazing records doesn't mean anything unless you win. Unfortunately, the Cowboys haven't had too many amazing records in the past. I'm talking specifically about last year, 4-12. But and my biggest takeaway is Dak Prescott, human after all, but there's nothing to panic about in Dallas. You guys could lose out and still go to the playoffs. So honestly, sitting at 11-2, and like I said, those 2 losses are a team you're probably not going to see in the playoffs. I wouldn't really be too worried, guys.
However, you look at these upcoming schedules here for these 2 teams, and it does get interesting. You play with some scenarios here. Cowboys have a tough game once again Sunday night against the Buccaneers this weekend. Buccaneers are currently a top 5 defense. They've been playing lights out. They just held the potent New Orleans Saints to 11 points. They have been getting multiple interceptions. They put pressure on the quarterback. So this is a big test for Dak. This is his 3rd elite defense he's played in a row. Cowboys have really been put through the ringer here as far as the defenses they've played. It went Vikings, Giants, and now Buccaneers. 3 of the top 5 defenses in the league over these past few weeks. So that'll be a big test. And then play the Lions on Monday night, December 26th, and then close the game at Eagles. So I think for the Cowboys, it's very important that they win this Sunday night and they get one more game clear of the Giants. Because if the Cowboys lose this game against the Buccaneers and the Giants win, things could get really interesting in the NFC East. They would only have a 1-game lead with 2 games to go, with the Giants owning the tiebreaker. So hypothetically, things could get very interesting there. On the other side, the Giants play the Lions this upcoming weekend. For all the Cowboys fans out there, we need the Giants to lose this game. That would help for the NFC. I'm pretty sure that would clinch the NFC East for the Cowboys. But it would be interesting because the Lions would gain a game in the NFC. So obviously the Cowboys would like to remain the 1 slot in the NFC. But I mean, they control their own destiny. You know, if they win out, they will have the 1 seed. The Giants close with the Lions, then they go at Eagles and at Redskins. Honestly, I could easily see the Giants dropping 2 of those games. Eagles and the Redskins, even though both of their records are hovering around 500, two very capable teams, and 2 teams that are NFC East rivals, so that's just a tough game regardless. Both away games, so that hurts. And the Lions, who the Giants play this week, are honestly one of the hottest teams in the NFL. So for both teams, the Giants and the Cowboys, very tough closing schedules. But Andrew, if you could compare the 2, who do you think has the tougher one?
If I were to compare the 2, I would say that the Giants actually have a tougher schedule, but I believe that that's only because Dallas is so good at this point. You were wondering, oh no, the Cowboys are playing Buccaneers. Okay, you guys are playing a highly skilled defense, but look at your offense. You got Ezekiel Elliott, you got Dak Prescott, that offensive line that I don't even need to talk about. I think that Dallas is going to wrap up things pretty solid. So I think that the team that should be worried, regardless really of whose schedule is more difficult, I think the team that should be worried about losing some games is New York.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. I believe there was a quote from Jason Witten after the game, and I'm paraphrasing here a little bit, but he said basically, Cowboys are 11-2. That's a very good record. We're in December. We have 3 games left. We put ourselves in a good spot, and I think he couldn't have said it better. I think any team would kill for 11 wins here with 3 games remaining. So, as we mentioned before, the Cowboys control their own destiny. A very good team. We look for them to get back on track this Sunday night against the Buccaneers. As we said, that Buccaneers defense has been no joke of late, but I do personally think this Cowboys offense will get back on track. I think Dak is the ultimate competitor, and I think even though he's a rookie, I think he'll rally the troops. He's got great veterans around him, great guys that have been in the league a long time on that offense, and even though they're young, I think they can rally together and get a big win here on Sunday night. Now we're just going to talk about playoff picture here once again, heating up. Only 3 weeks left. I'll start with you, Andrew. We'll start with the AFC. Okay. How do you see that one playing out?
AFC, man. Okay, so as we were saying before, there's no teams here that have clinched. New England, standing at 11-2, could actually not make playoffs if they lose out. So so this is a crazy, crazy last few weeks that we're gonna see in the AFC. Right now, we have New England standing at 1, Kansas at 2, Pittsburgh at 3, Houston at 4. Those are your division leaders. Then a wild card, AFC West rivals Oakland and Denver wrap up the AFC picture if the playoffs were to start today. Now, Houston, they're standing at the 4th seed. They are winning the AFC South with a abysmal record of 7-6. Tied with fellow AFC South Tennessee Titans, both teams 7-6. I think, and I believe, Nate, you actually agree with me here, that Tennessee is gonna have the upper hand in these last 3 games, win out, forcing Houston to say bye-bye to their hopes and dreams of playoffs. Brock Osweiler having to pack his bags early.
The Brockett ship.
Then when we look at Oakland and Denver, so those are wildcard teams, I believe that these teams are actually going to stay the way they are. Denver probably has the toughest remaining schedule left in the NFL, but Denver's a good team. They won the Super Bowl last year. They have some experience on their hands. They know how to win when it comes down the stretch. Oakland, I think, is just too good right now. They're standing at 10-3, solid record. I think they're gonna, if not win their division, keep that wild card spot. So I really see the only thing changing here is that Tennessee is gonna trade out Houston for that 4th seed, and that's the AFC picture according to Andrew Mason. Nate, you have something to say about this?
I agree with you, man. Except last part there, I think Denver actually might slip out of there, and the only thing I'd change is Denver slipping out and Baltimore sliding into that 6th seed.
Baltimore, really? The Flacco fling?
The Flacco fling. I trust him. And then they upset the Patriots.
Ooh.
Anyways, moving on to the NFC. My Dallas Cowboys, only team to clinch a playoff spot in the entire NFL. Just saying. Detroit sitting at 2, Seattle at 3, Hot Atlanta at 4, 5 New York Giants, 6 Tampa Bay. Excuse me. Looking at teams in the hunt, Washington, Minnesota, Green Bay are the 3 real threats. But out of these 3 teams, I think it's very interesting because Minnesota, I think we can write them off. I don't think they're making the playoffs. So it really comes down to Washington and Green Bay. I don't trust Tampa Bay, and I don't trust New York. New York probably is going to make the playoffs, though. I mean, they have 9 wins right now. It's hard to blow that one. But the 6th seed is honestly wide open between Tampa Bay, Washington, and Green Bay. Green Bay has a tough closing schedule, as does Tampa Bay. I think Washington has the easiest out of those 3 teams. Washington has the best offense. Their defense is a little shaky. Tampa has the best defense. Green Bay defense is horrible. But, Aaron Rodgers, when he's hot, that's just a whole nother story. So as far as prediction goes, this is tough. Currently, Tampa's sitting at the 6. I'm going to say Washington wins out, slides into that 6th seed, knocks out Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay loses 2 of their last 3.
Oh, man.
I think we got 3 NFC East teams in the NFC playoff picture, which is pretty crazy considering last year the division was overall absolutely horrible. So quite the 180 there. But yeah, that's my prediction for the NFC. Now for a beautiful final segment. Hot Seat with Andrew and Nate. Anyone is vulnerable here, not just coaches. The entire NFL. If you're involved at all, you may be on the hot seat. I'll kick things off. Carson Palmer, first member of my hot seat gang. Arizona currently sits at 5-7-1. A trash record for a team as talented as they are, offensively and defensively. He has the weapons. John Brown, J.J. Nelson, good receivers. Larry Fitzgerald, Hall of Famer. The line is okay. He could have a better O-line. I'll give him that. Top 3 running back in the game, David Johnson. Absolute animal. Honestly, should be maybe in the MVP conversation, so no excuse there. And a great coach in Bruce Arians. So Carson Palmer is the first member of my hot seat gang. How about you, Andrew?
All right, so first member, I'll lead it off with another quarterback. This one up in NorCal, Colin Kaepernick. Somebody who didn't start the season as a starter.
Also didn't vote.
didn't vote, came into the starting position with some big negativity surrounding him, obviously. Despite whether or not you agree with his on the field national anthem antics, or you don't agree, it is negative energy for the team. And when you have a quarterback that brings this negative energy and isn't really winning football games, that's a bad recipe. And I think that the 49ers, one of the best franchises in the game, are smart enough to recognize that. And I honestly hope that, I really actually do like Colin Kaepernick. A lot of people forget he led that 49ers team to the Super Bowl not too long ago, when we were just in high school, Nate, not too long ago. And I think he can do some damage, but I think that it's just not the right fit. I think that 2017, I would like to see Colin Kaepernick in a new city, and that's why I believe he's on the hot seat, because I think he kind of deserves to be booted out of San Francisco for right now.
Switching it up here to head coaches. My next one, sitting at number 2, got Rex Ryan. Actually, maybe just the entire Ryan family. Rob too. Rex and Rob. I know that no one circles the wagons like Rex and Rob, but I mean, come on, Rex. 6-7 this season with the Buffalo Bills. Just countless seasons with the Jets. You did make a couple AFC championships with the Jets. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Ever since then, just consistent mediocrity out of you, sexy Rexy.
And they got some good players this season.
Got some good players, man. Got some good players. Tyrod Taylor, LaShawn McCoy, Sammy Watkins. I know he hasn't been healthy. Robert Woods is good. Solid defense. Good secondary.
I feel like me and you could put together a above 500 season with those guys. Huh?
I like our chances. So Rex Ryan, for your lack of ability to win and for a reputation of rallying the troops, sitting at 6-7, got to put Rex Ryan on the hot seat here.
All right, Nate, I'm going to start off my rendition of round 2 with coach as well. This coach is a coach that, when he joined the San Diego Chargers coaching staff, I had high hopes, because as a San Diego Charger fan, I was not a huge Norv Turner guy, especially towards the end of his San Diego days. So I'm talking about Mike McCoy. There's so much going on with the Chargers right now, with the Spanos family. Are they going to stay in San Diego? Are they going to get a new stadium? Are they going to move to LA? And I think that one of the first things to go in order to make a move, and I think the Spanos family knows this, for the record, I'm not a huge Spanos guy either, but I think that in order to make a big change like I see in the Chargers' future, either a stadium change or a city change, I believe that you kind of need to make a splash, like the Rams did with getting Jared Goff, trading up to get Goff when moving to LA. I think you need to come into wherever you're moving to with a splash, and I think that is going to have to involve, unfortunately, for Mike McCoy, the firing of Mike McCoy. So I see him in the hot seat. The Chargers not doing too well, 5-8 right now. Slim to none chance of making these playoffs. The only reason I even mentioned slim is because I am a Charger fan, and that is why Mike McCoy is on my hot seat, Nathaniel.
Makes sense. For my final member of my hot seat gang, I'm going to go with none other than Chicago Bears quarterback Jason Cutler. The guy has so much talent, but just one of the worst attitudes I think we've ever seen in sports history. It's continuously shown that he's not a leader. Has the great Alshon Jeffrey, had the great Matt Forte, had a great offensive system, and just couldn't do much with it. I know he's been hurt this year. The Bears are sitting at 3-10. Just been
3-10. I didn't know it's that bad.
Yeah, it's that bad. It's been a disgrace of a franchise for a team that has a rich tradition. Past 5 years have been rough for Chicago, and I think the main problem is Jay Cutler. I think he's got to go. Just continuous horrible picks. He'll throw you touchdowns, but he'll throw you so many interceptions, it's not even worth it. He's one of those guys who'll keep you in a game and then just crush your soul with an awful interception with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I think he's honestly one of the biggest busts. I think he'll go down as one of the biggest busts in NFL history because of his potential. Dude has an absolute cannon for an arm, and when he's locked in, he's truly elite. but he's just not there mentally. And honestly, that's 90% of the battle in most things in life. And Mr. Cutler having some trouble locking in mentally over these past few years. So I think Chicago's got to move in a new direction. They got to really just restart that franchise. Defensively, they're solid. They're putting together the pieces nicely on the defensive side of the ball. I think that defense will be formidable in 2 to 3 years. So if they can just get a Jordan Howard's a nice piece at running back. He's been very good this year. If they can just find themselves a quarterback, whether it's this year or next year in the draft, I think the Bears could be in the right direction. But Jay Cutler, the final team member of my hot seat gang.
Now, Nate, you said that the problem with Chicago is Jay Cutler. Do you think the problem with Jay Cutler is Chicago? What do you think he can do with what if he moves cities? Maybe a warmer city, maybe Phoenix.
He does like the cold. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
he's a dome
Arizona.
Guy. That's a good point you bring up there. We'll see. Maybe he'll just go to the New York Jets and we'll see what he can do there. I don't know. Cold weather there, but hey, what are you gonna do? Looking for a fresh start. They need a quarterback. Maybe he'll just take Brock Osweiler's spot, put him in Houston.
And okay, that actually leads me perfectly to the final teammate of my hot seat, Rick Smith, the general manager of the Houston Texans. Now, he just recently signed a 4-year contract extension, something that we have seen is not a guarantee in the NFL, with Jeff Fisher, after his 2-year contract extension, getting completely ignored with his recent firing just a few days ago. I believe that Rick Smith is in the hot seat, but I believe that he's unfairly placed there. He paid a lot of money for Brock Osweiler, and I think a lot of Houston fans and just National Football League fans around the world have placed Rick Smith on their hot seats. However, I've said from day one, Brock Osweiler is not going to be an immediate impact in Houston. It's going to take some time. However, the beautiful, beautiful world of sports is never patient, and I believe that for that reason, Rick Smith is in the hot seat because of Brock Osweiler's unsuccessful debut season down in Houston.
There you go, folks. That was our hot seat gangs for me and Andrew. That'll wrap up another episode of 4th and Inches. We had a great time. We hope you had a great time. That was episode 14 of 4th and Inches.